Tonight, we are following two breaking news stories. First, explosive sexual assault allegations rocking the legacy of civil rights icon César Chávez. Plus, Democrats could be headed for a major upset in the race for governor in this state. Good evening once again, everyone. I'm Colleen Williams.
And I'm Kathy Vara, in for Michael Brownlee. We're going to begin with the breaking developments involving César Chávez. Today, fellow labor icon Dolores Huerta revealing she was sexually abused and impregnated by Chavez twice. Now there are growing calls to remove his name from streets, schools, and monuments.
And so it's been hard to absorb this. You know, Jen and I are very close with Dolores. So many of us are, but very close. Have been for decades and decades, and none of us knew.
And Conan Nolan joining us now in studio with more on Chavez's legacy and the potential impact of these allegations. Conan.
So this was a painful day for millions as a figure who was so close to the pride of a culture and a labor movement fell today from grace and resulted in deep reflection on what he meant and what he did.
We are not beasts of burden.
His legacy was built one march, one boycott, and one strike at a time, giving voice to the voiceless and economic dignity to those who toiled below the unrelenting California sun in the farm fields of the San Joaquin, Salinas, and Imperial Valleys.
We showed the growers and showed the world that we are important human beings.
In time, César Chávez, the 5'6" son of Mexican immigrants, appeared to cement his place in history. From the historic establishment of California's trailblazing Ag Labor Relations Board to a 24-day-long hunger strike to protest an Arizona law banning union farm labor, Chavez became the personification of not just the farm worker movement, but the campaign for civil rights for all those who work with their hands, and a figure representing the broad integration of millions of immigrants and their sons and daughters into mainstream American society.
We are important because of the work we do.
But now, a blight on the memory. Dolores Huerta, the co-founder of the United Farm Workers Union, today releasing a statement saying she had been sexually assaulted by Chavez twice, writing that she had been manipulated and pressured into having sex with him. That the second time was rape, as she was forced against her will in an environment where she says she felt trapped. Huerta says she had 2 children with Chavez, pregnancies she hid from the public, and that after the children were born, she arranged for them to be raised by other families. Governor Gavin Newsom.
It's been hard to absorb this. You know, Jen and I are very close with Dolores. So many of us are, but very close. Have been for decades and decades, and none of us knew.
Huerta's statement follows the publication of a year-long investigation by the New York Times, which quotes 2 women who say they were sexually abused by Chavez starting when they were 12 and 13 years old. One, Anna Magura, can be seen with Chavez in this photograph from 1975. The Times claims it spoke with 60 sources and cites union records and confidential documents. A statement from the Chavez family said, in part, "This is deeply painful to our family. We hope these matters are approached thoughtfully and fairly."
I'm still shaking a little bit about Dolores and all these young women.
That's Jennifer Sable Newsom, the First Lady of California. The women told the New York Times that they remain silent under pressure for a large measure of it due to the effort to keep the narrative alive of what César Chávez did and the United Farm Workers Union and the movement. But at some point, history prevails.
That news was stunning today, but also there is more breaking news that's stunning as well, especially for this state. 3 months to go before California's June primary, the state is faced with a historic and maybe an unprecedented situation when we talk about the recent polls. Conan.
Right. So those 2 gentlemen are Republicans. They're running for governor. On the left is Chad Bianco. He's a Riverside County Sheriff. Steve Hilton on the right, the former Fox News host. This is a potential nightmare scenario for the state California Democratic Party in this very blue state. There are so many Democrats running for governor that they're splitting up the vote, and that could result in 2 leading Republicans finishing 1 and 2 in June, meaning only they would go on to the November runoff. Take a look at this poll from the LA Times and the UC Berkeley Center for Governmental Studies. Steve Hilton, Chad Bianco at the top, Top two, Eric Swalwell, the Democratic congressman from the Bay Area, Katie Porter, former congresswoman, Tom Steyer, the billionaire from the Bay Area. They're in third, fourth, and fifth place in double digits. Then you get to the second tier of candidates. Again, there are 8 Democrats in this race. Javier Becerra, the former HHS secretary with 5%, former mayor of Los Angeles, Antonio Villaraigosa at 4. Then you have Matt Mahan, the San Jose mayor at 4, Betty Yee, the former controller, Tony Thurmond. And then others undecided, just 16%. So that's not a huge pool. And so now there's the potential that the state of California, these Democrats, could be without a candidate in November. This is Robin Swanson from the California Democratic Party earlier today.
I think Chair Hicks has said it best, that he wants people to really do an honest assessment of their path to victory and how viable their path is. And as a result, he has commissioned a poll by Aviterus Research. They're a Los Angeles-based polling firm. And those results will be released next week about the gubernatorial race. And there will be polls released every 7 to 10 days thereafter, so that candidates can honestly assess whether they have a viable path to victory.
Now, those polls are designed to get them to drop out. But the problem is, even if they do drop out, their name will be on the ballot. And in the state of California, there are candidates who have dropped out who still get hundreds of thousands of votes. That could be enough. So I don't know. It's tough to talk people out of running, but that's the hope of the California Democratic Party.
How much money do you expect the GOP will spend to keep that as a 1-2 race?
Well, you know, in politics, what's the adage? When somebody's when your opponent's committing suicide, you don't get involved. That's what the Republicans going to do. They're just going to watch this. And right now, Steve Hilton's best hope to become governor, or Chad Bianco's, is to run against another Republican in the fall. Because this is a Democratic state by far. And so, but the idea, they said it was like a 19% chance. I think this poll indicates it's more than that. And that's got a lot of people very concerned at Sacramento.
That is a wild race, I tell you.
Yeah, there's more to come.
All right, Conan, thank you for both stories.